in their world, man.
Hello, Jerry.
Zach.
What's going on, dude?
Dude, man. How'd you like my vocals, man, on SOTR?
Jerry, what's going on, dude?
Dude, man.
I can hear myself in the background, man.
Like my vocals, man, on SOTR. I better turn this down, huh?
Yeah, you can mute that for now.
Myself in the background, man.
My vocals, man, on SOTR. I better turn this down, huh?
Yeah, you can mute that for now.
I can't make the damn thing stop. All right, we just going to X you for right now, the damn thing. All right, bro, hell yeah.
So how you been doing, man? What's been going on in your world, dude?
Everything's been pretty good, man. You know, I'm living the dream, man, for an old metalhead.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. So what's up with your vocals on SOTR, man? Like the shit was it was so insane I couldn't even hear it, man.
Yeah, man, guitar, man, so loud and distorted and everything, man.
Yeah.
Sounds like metal.
Well, I've also got Hotter Than Hell and Iron Jaw lined up for later, so don't worry, man.
All right, cool, man. Yeah, you know, SOTR has always been the song that we played first at our gigs, man, for the longest time. You know, once we started playing all originals, we led off with SOTR and always seemed to do well.
It sounds like it's a good intro, man. I mean, I can see
it gets everybody going, man. You know, get that damn pit going, and hell yeah.
Yeah.
I hadn't jammed in a while, though. You know, it's been a couple years. I hadn't, you know, I don't know if I'll jam again or not. You know, I'm getting up there. I'm already 65, so I'm kind of in the right place, you know, for myself at this time in my life. It's just, you know, it's just evolved into. I probably should have started this damn hall thing, you know, a little earlier, but you know. Maybe I wasn't ready then, you know. Maybe I was still jamming with the Warlock thing and digging Warlock.
Yeah, so
here we are.
So what happened with the Warlock shit, man? Because these tracks that we're playing are fucking old as fuck, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We recorded one CD there in '85 and one in '86, and that was it. Damn. We the band split up in '86.
Well, it sounds really good, man. Like I'm surprised it's not on fucking Spotify or Bandcamp or anything like that, man. Like,
bro, it's all me, man. I'm such a retard, you know. I know I should have it in the streaming, man.
Yeah.
You know, and I've had a few things that I held on for the longest because I had this record deal with this guy and we were going to release the damn thing. And, man, after like a couple years of talking about this thing, man, he finally backed out. So I would really, hell, I'm on your show, I might as well say it. If somebody wants to release your stuff in the proper manner, shoot, get with me. I would probably be okay with it, and so I held on for releasing it, you know, with the damn streaming services and everything, man, because I was gonna do it all at once, and you know, so.
You should, man. You really should, man. You know, and yeah, I mean, there might be somebody out there listening right now that might help you out, but to be honest with you, in this day and age, you can do all that shit yourself, man. You can fucking release that shit yourself, dude. Damn the man. You don't need them.
I know, and I'm totally groovy with the and it'll probably happen, man. Really, you know, we do have a page on Bandcamp, but I haven't put anything on there or anything. You know, like I said, I was waiting there and everything, and you know, Zach, just tell you, man, I'm a pretty busy guy, man. This Heavy Metal Hall of Fame, man, is keeping me busy. We have a big show here tomorrow night. Right now, man, we're in the middle of this FIFA thing, and man, you know, Arlington is a big tourist attraction type city. Mm-hmm. Anyway, and you know, we have the Dallas Cowboys here, man, the Texas Rangers baseball team. Not the police, man, but the Texas Rangers baseball team.
Yeah.
I'm sure some of them Texas Ranger police are floating around somewhere, man. But I hadn't seen one in a while. So anyway, yeah, they're all out there hassling people on the highways, man.
Yeah, man.
But
so
tell us. Well, I mean,
tell us about this Hall of Fame, man. The Heavy Metal Hall of Fame, dude. How did you get that started, man?
Well, I had it in my mind a long time. I trademarked damn Heavy Metal Hall of Fame in 2011. And man, I goofing around. I guess I wasn't. I'm still 50 right then. I had jamming. We did a Warlock reunion there. I don't know if you saw those things or not. There's a video of the reunion show. We did that in 2014. It was pretty cool, and we hung out there for a few years, 2011 to about 2014. 2015, I think, 2015 we made it up to, and I was just doing the damn Warlock thing. I was enjoying the Warlock thing, and and I'll be truthful, I don't even know if I should talk about these things on here, man. I don't know.
Man, you can talk about whatever you want to talk about, brother.
You think so? I'll tell you my opinion, man, on the Hall of Fame, man, damn it. I've never said this publicly, and I try to be as nice as I can, man, these days, Lord have mercy. But Pat, man, out there, I guess he's in L.A., based in L.A., he started doing that Metal Hall of Fame, and he... I guess, he obviously knew of me, I have the trademark and everything, and he just going around my thing, just calling it Metal Hall of Fame instead of Heavy Metal Hall of Fame. And so, thus the case, he cranked it up, man, somewhere around there, 2016, 2017, I don't know when it was, 2018, all them years, but... He started having those induction ceremonies out there in L.A., and I thought, well, man, this dude is doing it right. I guess, I guess I missed my spot. I guess I, just go ahead and let this thing go and let him do it, And he started doing his thing out there. And then, man, it got to where I was watching it, and I was thinking, man, I don't know if this guy's doing this thing right, man. I wasn't really cool with it. And it was really cool this last year when he had his ceremony. Ricky Rackman, man, he I don't know if you're familiar, up to date with these types of things, but Ricky Rackman was...
I know who he is. Headbangers Ball, man.
Well, I mean, I know you know who he is, of course, but I was saying, I don't know if you know how this transpired this last year, but... he refused to go. They had, for this year's induction ceremony, they were doing an LA theme, with all them bands there, Faster Pussycat and all them bands, and LA Guns, and so they did an LA themed induction, and they included Ricky Rackman, but Ricky refused to go eventually, and he's saying that he didn't want to be inducted into a Metal Hall of Fame that didn't even include Slayer, to mention the beginning, or not even, Black Sabbath or anything, man. So this guy ended up, he ended up, inducting all these people willy-nilly, and everybody's inducted is well worthy of being inducted, of course, man. But the way he does those shows and everything, it started to where it just didn't seem right anymore, and of course, I think, like most people think, that Black Sabbath is the beginning of metal, man. I mean, they wrote the manuscript of metal.
Yeah.
I mean, shit. Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, and Sabotage right there is just it's the how-to book, man. But...
Yeah, I know. I tell everybody all the time, man, if it wasn't for Ozzy and Sabbath, I wouldn't even have a job. Like, none of us, we wouldn't even be doing any of this shit that we're doing, man, because they fucking started the whole thing, man.
And I was lucky enough to listen to Black Sabbath back then, too, man, when I was a kid, because I was born in 1960, man. So, I mean, by like 73 and 74, I had this friend named Ricky Hopkins, man, and he had two older brothers and them guys, man, were listening to Zeppelin and Sabbath and Deep Purple, and you know, the original hard rock bands, and man, they were blasting that for me, and that Sabbath, man, just ate me alive. And so many people will tell you, it's really funny too, because I bet you nowadays, if you did a survey and asked people if their favorite band was Black Sabbath or if it was Led Zeppelin, I think Sabbath could hang pretty tight with them nowadays. I don't know if they'd win or not, but I mean, it'd be pretty close. But I'll tell you what, Zach, back in those old-timey days like that there, man, if you truly were a Sabbath fan, you know, people ask you, man, who do you like, Zeppelin or Sabbath? And you said Sabbath, man, you were like an oddball dude, man. I mean, you were a 10%er, man, or you know, 15 or 20. At the most, you know, would say that. Most people would have said Zepp, man, 100 to 1, you know, so it was, but of course, you know, nowadays, you know, they're accepted like classic rock, you know, but back then, man, I mean, that was shocking stuff, man, you know, what the Sab was doing. Yeah. Then, of course, the Priest, you know, the Priest was right behind them, man, and, you know, we love Priest so much, man, because, you know, they were the first band to claim themselves as a metal band. Mm-hmm. There was no disguise in their thing. Even before it was popular or cool, they were a metal band, and they claimed, and that's why they led, you know, the new wave of British heavy metal coming out of there like they did, because you know, they claimed to be a metal band, and that felt so good to our hearts, you know, back then. You know, it's like, man, we love these dudes. They're metal. You know, all these other bands are, we're rock, man. We're hard rock. You know, they wouldn't touch that word metal. Yeah, I don't know if you're old enough to remember that, but man, you know, people just the bands wouldn't touch the word metal, you know, until about, you know, a little later on.
Well, I remember it was kind of like that in the '90s too. There for a while, you know, a lot of bands started straying away, and they didn't really want to associate themselves with metal anymore, because
there you go.
The other stuff was popular, but Pantera, they fucking rode right through it with like a fucking sword, and they said, "Fuck that, we're fucking heavy metal, goddammit." That's it, man. And I always loved that about them, man. I always respected that they, you know, that they stuck to their guns, man.
I mean to tell you, man, you know, you explained it just, you know, correctly, man. Of course, you know, they took that sword, man, and cut through all that no guitar solo era, you know. Here you got Darrell playing guitar in your band, and you're talking about we were trying to go on a no solo era here, you know. That was really something, you know. But yeah, of course, the '90s were like that. You know, they had gone away from metal, and the new metal was mostly a lot of bands that didn't have solos in their songs, and so. But man, those Pantera records sure are great, aren't they?
Man, they're fucking legendary, dude. I love them, man. Fucking, you know, and I mean, it's crazy, you know. Like nowadays, we all know about the early stuff, the early records, you know, that they put out before they got signed. But back when I was a kid, nobody that I knew of, like nobody knew about that shit. Like we all thought that they just started with Cowboys from Hell, you know. But it wasn't until a lot later, I guess, with the internet and everything, you know, people start digging shit up and stuff. And I remember when I found out that they had like four other records before that. And that shit's fucking solid, man. Like I'm like, I can't believe to this day that they haven't remastered and put them out, you know, like in special editions or something. You know, like why the fuck ain't that shit out, man?
It's a weird thing, you know, and people like you or I might think those things, but man, when you're as big as Pantera, bro, man, you know, that's why you know, it's when I always think before I speak with Rex, you know, because you know, you got people say, well, you know, if I was Metallica, I would do so and so. This is what I do, man. They, you know, you don't know what you'd do if you was Metallica, man. You never reached. None of us ever reached a height that they've reached, and you know, there's just so many things going on, and you know, I just don't think that. I mean, Vince told me one time, he said, man, you know, they've got those things reissued in Germany and China and Russia, and he said, man, I'm just tired of tracking those things down. He goes, I don't really care, man. What does it really matter anymore, man? Just let them go. But none of them, I think, it's nothing they really wanted to highlight, though. I mean, that was Rex Rocker, man.
They probably look at that stuff and think, we were kids, But for us, the fans, like, we don't fucking care, man. We like it all, dude. Like, we just love to fucking headbang and blast that shit, man.
Hey, I can tell you something funny too, Zach. Before Projects in the Jungle was released, man, Rex told me, he said, bro, this new album is going to be better than the new Metallica album. And the new Metallica album was Ride the Lightning.
Hell yeah.
And I'm looking at it and going, yeah, right, bro.
They had confidence, man. They had confidence.
Hey, I mean, and hey, that song "Heavy Metal Rules" is on that one, man.
Yeah.
The singer, man. He just wasn't going to stretch it on out there, man. Phil obviously was the best thing that ever happened to Pantera, man.
Yeah.
He had the balls to drag them along with him too, and say no. I can tell you, we're talking Pantera stuff. I can tell you one thing that I saw one time. We were down there at the showcase in San Antonio. I used to get on the bus and go places, and you just get off the bus in some city and take the bus home, the general bus home. But I was down there in San Antonio, and Phil was telling Vince that he wasn't going to be singing that high stuff anymore. He was going. And the argument was getting more and more heated, And Vince finally put me out of the room. He said, "Warden, get out." I said, "All right, man." Yeah, he told me to get out, but Phil was telling him, "Hey, man, when we were playing the clubs at home every weekend, singing this high stuff wasn't no big deal, man. But he goes, out here on this road trying to sing it 6 and 7 days a week. He goes, I can't do that." And he goes, "I'm not going to be doing that." And he was arguing and saying that he was going to be singing rougher, And because, Cowboys from Hell's got all them high-pitched stuff,
Yeah.
Cemetery Gates, man. I mean, that's some soaring, lead vocal, man. And the dude was capable of doing it. I don't know if he is anymore, but hell, he might be. Shoot. They do Cowboys from Hell. I mean, he gets through it pretty good. They don't do Cemetery Gates, though.
Well, yeah, and nothing against that stuff. I mean, I love all that shit, too. Like, I'm a huge fan of high-pitched shit. Like, I love Halford, too. But
yep.
But I will say, though, I remember when Vulgar Display of Power came out, and I had already heard Cowboys from Hell, a few songs off that record, but hadn't gone to the store and bought it yet. It wasn't until Vulgar Display of Power came out and I seen that video for Mouth for War. That's when I was like, okay, fuck it, I'm gonna go. And I went to the record store and I bought both those tapes. I bought both Cowboys from Hell and Vulgar Display of Power the same day, and just was full blown into it from that moment. But
that's killer, man.
There was something about the power and just I don't know, man, just the way that he was just fucking yelling, like fucking just full of rage on that Vulgar album, man. It was something different, compared to everything else that was going on right then at that time. It stuck out, like it really.
There was good shit, man, right then. Obituary was coming out. All them bands right there were coming out. You remember that video of Obituary on MTV, man, where I think they were doing Slowly We Rot. Yeah. But it was that's a killer video too. I couldn't believe they played that in 1990, man, on MTV. But but somehow, man. Oh yeah, all those great bands were coming out right then. The Florida, the Tampa scene, death scene was hidden, but they just, Phil just knew how to take it to that different level, man. He was just a little bit better, than all them cats. And it's, I hate to say the word better, because, I love all those bands, man.
I think he was in touch with what us metal fans were into at that moment, and he could see probably how a lot of people were getting turned off by some of the bands kind of selling out and going to a more softer sound. But then a lot of the metalheads, like especially in my community, a lot of the kids that I was hanging out with, we were getting more and more into death metal and heavier thrash metal and stuff like that. So it was just, you know, and Pantera, with them leaning into that, they just sort of started getting heavier and heavier with each record. They kind of they kept I don't know, they maintained like where that they could be fucking cool to listen to, even though they weren't death metal. But if you were a death metal fan at that time, you could still also listen to them as well. You know what I mean? Like,
damn straight. There was just something about it, man. It's just something about it. You know, I like I said, I love all that Tampa stuff. You know, Cannibal Corpse, Death, and I've probably seen Cannibal Corpse 20 times, man. It's pathetic how many times I've seen them dudes, man. But yeah, you know, they were just, Pantera just had that, man. I mean, of course you have Darrell playing guitar to begin with, man. I mean, this dude, he was a badass, man, from the beginning. So, you know, when you have Darrell playing guitar, you're already in a pretty top echelon, and then Phil, you know, was able to steer them in the direction. Darrell was ready. Darrell was a willing participant. He was ready to go, man. He always wanted to be heavier. You know, they tried everything they could. See, and it's funny because you start right there in the early '90s, man, with you know, the second album there, Vulgar, but you know, we had to watch it. We had to watch the painful stuff, man. The painful. I met them in 1982, and you know, the first record wasn't even released yet. My name's on that first record. My name's on all those records, and they had me as a roadie on the first record.
Hell yeah.
I was a roadie, man, for them. I could tell you another funny story too, man. Their father was their sound man, their live sound man too. He was the live sound man in the beginning until he couldn't take it anymore. You know, it was just fucking too wild and too much for him. He's watching his boys get wilder and wilder. He's like, oh man, I gotta get out of here. So anyway, man, I had the biggest PA in town at the time, so I became the sound man, and I was Pantera's sound man probably for about 2 months. Maybe 3, I don't know. But my final gig was at this place called the Rock Haven. And we used to all hang out at this place called the Rock Haven. And, man, Vince would always give me the cassette to play as the interim music. And, you know, they were trying to please these clubs, man, and everything. And so it was always, you know, Van Halen songs and these types of things, you know, on his cassette he would give me to put in. Yeah. See, because you handled the interim music back then yourself, too. They didn't have a DJ or whatever who kicked in, you know, or the sound man didn't kick in back then and play the music. I mean, you had to play the music your damn self. And man, I put in the brand new Venom album, bro, black metal. and man, I could see Vince behind the kid back there, man. They're getting done with that set, you know, blah, blah, blah. Man, I put in black metal, bro, and he fucking looked at me, man. He made a beeline straight to me.
Did you get
mad? Hell yeah, he was. Don't you ever do that again, Warden. I told you what tape to play, motherfucker, and all this shit. I don't know if I can say motherfucker or not, but
yeah, man, you can say whatever, dude.
I try to be a good boy. But yeah, that was another story I have right there too, man. I played that brand new black metal album, man, and man, he wasn't ready, you know. And you know, all those years later, you know, Phil used to wear that black metal shirt all the time, and yeah, always made me giggle. You know, I giggled to myself. Wasn't listening to that in '82 when it came out.
Hell yeah, that's funny, man. But yeah, I understand, dude. I know what you're talking about, you know, putting in those tapes and playing the playlist, trying to make everybody happy and stuff like that. Like, I mean, when we put on the Tennessee Metal Devastation Music Fest down here in Tennessee, and I always make a playlist for that, for the sound guy to play in between bands when they're changing over and stuff. And
because you're a top of the line promoter, bro.
But I'll throw all kinds of shit in. I'll throw in some stuff, that I know everybody's gonna know, like AC/DC and Van Halen and shit like that. But I'm always sneaking some other stuff in there, just like what you said, man.
Yeah,
throw some Venom in there, throw some fucking crazy shit that's gonna make people be like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah. I guess it's still going, still to this day. I met them under the other. I had a rag back then. I had helped this guy around here who. Did you ever hear of Lance Williams from here?
No.
He had a band called Boss Tweed, and they were one of the early metal bands here. Damon Dupere played guitar for him, man. He was a cool bro, man, cool brother of mine. But Lance put out a zine called Heavy Metal Times, and I think we made it up to like issue 3 on that. And but I was a writer in there, and hell, I supported the damn thing. I think I paid for a couple of them, if I remember right. And then that just kind of fell apart. So I thought to myself, well, man, I'm gonna put out my own zine. So I put out a zine called Cutthroat Press. And man, I put out 1 issue, bro. That was it. I knew right then, man, the magazine thing wasn't gonna be my thing, man. I mean, carrying around a bunch of magazines and selling them for $1 a piece, man, to everybody, and I think in this music business, I mean, I watch you. You're good, man. You know how to operate, and I think in this music business, we try a little bit of everything. And then we kind of find our little niche where we belong and where we feel the most comfortable. You know what I'm talking about when I say those things there?
Yeah, man. That's exactly what you gotta do, man. You just gotta go with the flow, a little bit.
Figure out where you're at. But I interviewed Pantera, man, in like April of '82. And, just became friends with him, of course, after that, But I went in there to interview him for this mag. We took pictures at my house and everything. Stuart Taylor took the pictures. I don't know if you know Stu or not, but he's an old famous photographer from around here. And I still have the pictures and everything. But I never did release issue number 2. Issue number 2 is going to have Pantera on the cover. And I just moving on. Warlock was moving on then, and we were doing good, and I was just trying to create a metal scene here, man, and that's what the hell we were doing, I don't know how if we ever got to the start of this thing, or we just started zigzagging all over the place with this thing, but shoot, man, if you want me to tell you some of the story, man, I booked my first show in 1979. And I had a band before Warlock. And my band before Warlock, man, was called Megaton. And Megaton, it just, it was the 2 brothers from across the street, Kirby and Kenny Meggs, and a badass guitar player named David Dillard. And we were together, I think it was 79, and I know it was in 80. And then they kicked me out of the band, man. And this is a funny story, man. It's a cool story. Do you know Bill Lindsay?
No.
He's the singer for Impaler. Are you familiar with Impaler?
I don't think so.
Well, you got to know.
Familiar, but
they recently played the Milwaukee Metal Fest. I mean, they played the first one back when it started back. Yeah, they're a badass band, bro. They've been around a long time.
Yeah. No, I know who you're talking about now. Yeah.
Blood and Guts, man. Blood and Guts and Monsters, man. Okay, so they kicked me out of the band, and guess what, man? They kicked me out of the band for this new singer named Bill Lindsay. And it's fucking Bill Lindsay, man, who ends up. He was from Minnesota, been in the St. Paul, Twin Cities area his whole life, but I think he met some chick, man. I hate to put this out there, but I think he met some chick and come down here and stayed for a while. And I think when that ended, he went back home to Minnesota. But Bill Lindsay of Impaler took my job, man, in my first band, Megaton. Damn. And they kicked me out for him, and so that's pretty cool. But then when he put out the first album of Impaler, it's called Rise of the Mutants. And it's pretty cool, man. But by then, I had this club called the Tombstone Factory, so I did his first show in the DFW Metalplex when he came through there in '86. Man, I wasn't worried about that. He stole my job 5 years ago. I didn't care about that. I was doing fine.
Yeah, water under the bridge, right?
Yeah, man, blood under the bridge, blood flowing under that bridge like a big old river. It's all cool, man. And so, my brother, he's 3 years younger than me, David, and he was getting pretty damn good at guitar, and it's like, oh, hell yeah, David's coming on here, man. And so we're going to have to start our own band, and nobody can't kick me out of this damn band. And so, me and Dave started Warlock, and the fall of 1981, I mean, exact same time, not knowing them or anything, exact same time as Pantera. They started Pantera in the fall of 81. And we started in the fall of 81, and we had Casey Orr and Hardin Harrison on bass and drums. And I'm sure you know them dudes. They went on to be in Rigor Mortis and other things. I don't know, is Casey still in Guar? Or I heard it might have been some sort of falling out recently, but I could be wrong, man. I that was just something that drifted through my ears somewhere along the line. I don't know. But yeah, he played in Guar. I think he played in Ministry with Mike, because Mike went on to play in Ministry. But Mike never did play in Warlock. But I tell you what, though, Zach, Mike Scascia, you know who Mike Scascia is, don't you? The guitar player for Rigor Mortis. Then he went on to be the guitar player in Ministry.
Okay.
He wrote that whole album, that New World Order, man. That big one that he had, man, right there. That's how all that went down. That's how that connection went down. Rigor Mortis, man, got signed to Capitol Records here in 1987, man. And it blew everybody's mind, man. I mean, everybody's thinking Pantera's going to be the first band signed out of here, whatever, da-da-da. And, man, here come Rigor Mortis getting signed to Capitol Records in 87. And it was pretty cool because I was there for the whole thing, too, And it was a really cool thing, man. But that's how we started Warlock, man. We had Casey and Hardin on bass and drums, and we had me and my brother. And then my brother, have you ever seen the Rigor Mortis movie?
No, I haven't.
You got to see that Rigor Mortis movie, man. It's good, man. It's called Welcome to Your Funeral, and it's pretty damn good. I'm in there too. I tell this story right here where I was telling, but man, we had this big old motel party, man. We had about 5 or 6 rooms there, kegs all out on the damn thing, and man, my brother and Hardin somehow got into a fight, man, and Hardin ended up stabbing my brother, man. Yeah, ended up stabbing my brother. He's really more of a slice across his chest. It's not a deep stab or anything. Yeah, it's all a famous story around here, bro. Because then we drove back to the Warlock Shack and loaded his drums up and went out there and threw them in Lake Arlington. And that's the only thing we did to retaliate, And we retaliated and threw his drums in the lake, man. And that was it, bro. Next thing you know, it's just me and Dave again. So we had to go. Well, Rick Perry had joined the band. I don't know if you know who Rick is. He ended up being a guitar player with Gamacide and stuff, but he was a guitar player for Warlock.
Yeah, I talked to him, man. Fucking Gamacide.
You talked to him?
Yeah.
Right on. Yeah, he was a guitar player for Warlock, and with my brother, he was like the rhythm guitar player to my brother, and then we got a new drummer. Les Choke, and he's gone on to do some cool stuff, and then we got Eric Roy is our bass player, and he's dead now, man. Somebody killed him, man, about 2001. But we went on and we did just fine, man. Rigor Mortis, Casey and Hardin went on and started Rigor Mortis, but it took them a couple years, man, to get it together. And they finally found Mike Scascia, man, and Mike Scascia was a hell of a guitar player, so that they were on the right road from that point on, man. But with Warlock, we were doing just fine, man. We reloaded and did just fine too. And Rick wrote all the songs, that you hear on our 2 CDs here, 85 and 86. So.
Yeah, you was mentioning Ricky, and I was just thinking, he has that other band called Iron Jaw, which I have a T-shirt from.
You do? Well, you said you loaded up the song,
No, he has a band called Iron Jaw because I did some PR for him for that, and I was just thinking about it, and I'm like, wait a second, you got a song called Iron Jaw, so I'm wondering, did he name the band after that song, or is it?
Yes, he did.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Hell yeah.
I don't know if I'm really all that happy about it, but, man, I got to admit, I mean, damn, man, I mean, can't you name your band something, they one of our songs, but anyway, man, what are you gonna do? I'm too busy to worry about them little things like that, but
what about
kind of weird.
What about War Beast, man? Did you ever fucking hang out with those guys?
Man, at one time, man, Corbett and I were the best of friends, man. I mean, we traveled together. We were both Aerosmith freaks, If you grew up in the late 70s, man, Aerosmith was heavy. They were a heavy band. That's hard for people to imagine now, because they put out all that dude looks like a lady stuff and everything later on. But they were a heavy band in the late 70s, man. So we were both Aerosmith freaks, me and Corbett, man, and we traveled to St. Louis to see them, Houston, Austin, all kind of stuff, man. And and Scott Shelby was the guitar player along with Rick. They changed some members. Rick started out as the guitar player of War Beast. Did you know that?
Yeah.
He wrote the first album with Shelby, but I'm pretty sure Rick wrote most of it. It's called Crush the Enemy. And then they kicked him out of the band. So then that's when he come hunting me down, wanting to do the Warlock thing again. And so we did the Warlock thing there for 3 or 4 years. But they kicked him out of War Beast, but then they put out 2 more albums, But Shelby, man, is still my friend too, man. Shoot, I love Scott Shelby. You know who I'm talking about? The big, ugly guitar player.
Big dude.
He calls himself Shell Beast.
Yeah.
Man, I've known him, man, since '84, man. Man, we've had so many funny things, man, go over in the past. He used to rehearse at my Tombstone factory all the time before they would let him in Gamaside. He had a band called Hazardous Waste. Go shout out there to Rodney Dorsey, man. Hell, man, Dorsey's a long-time metal hit here. But then Shelby got in Gamaside, so there he went on from there. And then, of course, later on, the War Beast, and the Texas Metal Alliance, as it was, they did a benefit for Wayne, man, from Hammer Witch. Did you ever hear of the band around here called Hammer Witch?
No, man.
They were killer too, man. They got here about '85. They come from New Orleans, but they come here and they stayed here and never went home. They still live here. Wayne Abney. He's got a new band now called Life of Scars, and they're badass too, man. I hope he gets with you and gets some promotion going. Yeah, I seen your Iron Jaw promotion go down my thing and the Creeper thing. I'm on the email list, man. So I see all them things, and I always notice when.
Yeah, Creeper was on here last week, and they were talking a little bit about some of the stuff that you're talking about because they're from that area, I guess.
Yeah, man, Creeper, I know Creeper, man. I put them on so many shows. I booked them 1,000,000 times, man. A lot of these bands, I booked their very first gig. Rotting Corpse. Are you familiar with Rotting Corpse?
Hell yeah, man.
I booked their very first gig, Rotting Corpse. I didn't book the very first Rigor Mortis gig, but, man, I booked the main ones that counted for them. I took them down to Deep Ellum, and I had them open for Warlock one time, man, and that set them free down there in Deep Ellum, which is a musical epicenter over there in Dallas, and then I took them to the Tombstone factory and got them going there, man, and everything. I was definitely a big part of the Rigor Mortis thing, even though it's funny because a couple years earlier they had been in my band and we split up and stabbing my brother, and next thing a couple years later, man, I'm just such into metal, man, that I got to let some of that shit go, man. I was right there, and I also had the radio show at the time, too. I had the very first metal radio show here in DFW on KNON, and KNON still has metal in that time slot I created. Saturday night from midnight to 4 on KNON in Dallas is a metal show. still to this day. I think they just changed to a new cat, you know. I don't even know what the hell he calls his show, but anyway, it's metal. And I started that in '86. So yeah, if you go down the line of where I created the DFW Metalplex here, Zach, after I fooled around with them zines and they're right there, and we had Warlock going, we could never get no gigs, man. So I was ready to do my own gigs, and so I built this 550 square foot stage, man. It looked like a home plate of a baseball diamond, and my friend Ricky Hopkins again, who I mentioned earlier, his brothers had turned me on to Black Sabbath and everything. He married this chick, man, and she had some land out in South Arlington, man. And I went out there, man, and it looked like a damn natural amphitheater to me, man. And so I built that stage on it, man, and we had concerts out there, and we called the place Heavy Meadows.
Hell yeah.
And Pantera, Heavy Meadows, bro, 82. This is the summer of 82 now. And this is the only thing of mine that made the VH1 Behind the Music of Pantera flyer from Heavy Meadows. Because it says something there on the VH1 deal that goes like, Pantera started off playing keg parties and backyard parties, and bam, it flashes my flyer right there. Pantera playing it. Yeah. Playing Heavy Meadows, bro. Yeah. And so look, we booked all the local metal bands of the time, Eruption, Boss Tweed, Agent, and of course Pantera. So we had Pantera out there, bro. I'll never forget it. It's August 2nd, man, 1982. And, man, we lost count. So we had free beer. We put on the flyer free beer. And we went through 18 kegs, man. And man, we lost count somewhere around 1,100 people, man, coming in the door. And it was a madhouse. And, man, we had the whole area out there shut down. If people were at their house, they couldn't leave their house, man, to go anywhere. And if they wasn't at their house and they were trying to get home, they couldn't get home, man, because all these streets out there were blocked off with all these cars parked on them. And the police couldn't even get to us, man, to get on to us. And so, man, finally they come riding up on horses, man. They brought the horses out there and rode up on us on horses, man, to get to us, man, because they couldn't get to us no other way. And me and my friend Ricky Hopkins was standing there, and they go, "Who's in charge here?" I did the old Three Stooges thing on them, bro. I stepped backwards, man. They started talking to him. He's in place, man. Nah, but 21 years old right then. But anyway, man, they said whatever's going on out here is over. It's over right now, and you get these people out of here. The whole place is shut down out here. Nobody can't do anything. It was great, man. So that was just one experience right there, and then there we were. We did Heavy Meadows. So we couldn't do it there anymore. Them people that owned the place freaked out and didn't know it was ever going to be anything like that. So we had to go to a new place on 360, man. It ended up being Heavy Meadows 2. And then over the next 2 years, 1982 and 1983, we had Heavy Meadows, and it got up to Heavy Meadows 4. We had 4 different places, man. So I just call it like the Heavy Meadows concert series that we did back then. So we were doing some badass shows, though, man, and it was cool as hell. And then finally there in '85, man, these people. These two twins, man, Johnny and Jimmy Kennard, man, kept bugging me about this club that their parents had, and we could take the club over if I just come out and talk to them. And I'm asking them, well, what's going on out there? What kind of club is it? And he's going, West Country and Western right now, man. And I'm like, oh, fuck no, man. We ain't going in there, fucking fighting with them fucking hillbillies, man. Come on. And finally, man, I went out there. This place was closed down, man. The electricity was turned off. I had this discussion with these people under a candle stuck into a Budweiser long neck bottle. And and when we split, bro, I took that fucking bottle. I still got that bottle. It's right here in the Heavy Metal Hall of Fame right now. They told me we could do a gig out there, and if everything went all right, man, I could book the place. And we did the first night, man, and it was packed insane, of course. It was Warlock and Forced Entry and Battalion. I don't know if you ever heard any of those bands around here. And then that lady told me she was out of her mind. They didn't have enough beer or anything. They had to keep running to the grocery store and get beer, and but they said it's yours, you know. And man, I began booking Rascals, and that was the very first metal club here in DFW, man. So like every metalhead, bro, from the far side of Fort Worth, the far side of Dallas, was fucking cramming down on Rascals, and it was violating the occupancy every time.
Hell yeah.
And there would honestly be another. I'm not exaggerating, bro. There would honestly be another 200 people, man, at least. Sometimes 300, just in the parking lot. They didn't pay to come in or anything. They just sit out in the parking lot and party with, you know, all these metal people, man. It was insane, man. And of course, you know, the cops, man, you know, we were public enemy number one, man, after a while, you know, I mean, because it was wild, you know. Of course, everybody played there. Rigor Mortis wasn't ready yet, but Pantera played there several times, and of course, Warlock played there many times, and it was a killer, man. But the police, they started sending the paddy wagon in. They'd bring this big old paddy wagon out there and just grab people and fill it up. And not even, when they got down to the police station, that's when they'd decide what they're going to charge them with. They decided whether they're going to charge them with, if they were drunk, they'd charge them with public intox, and that was $50. And if they weren't drunk, they'd charge them with disorderly conduct, and that was $50. and yeah. And all they were doing was just trying to deter people from coming there. You know, they couldn't shut it down any other way, and so that was their, you know, method of shutting us down. So finally, it was crazy. The parents that owned the place, it turns out the lady that owned the place had a long-standing warrant for her arrest, and they were starting to lean on the place so hard that they were sending investigators out there, and they found out that she had that. She had been absconded from parole, man, for about 20 years, and just lived a little old lady quiet life. And then here we came along, man. They got the investigators out there on her and everything, man. They trying to find anything they could to shut it down. So finally, man, later on, they turned it over to me. I booked the place up until like November of '85, and then she turned it over to me and gave me the club. And then I seen what the club business was all about, and I realized that place was doomed. You know, it just wasn't right. You know, there's so many club things that obviously I wouldn't explain here. But I split, man. And then just a few months later, somebody's telling me, man, there's this wild, crazy place out here, and people are throwing these badass parties. I'm like, oh, hell yeah, you know. So I was on out there, and it was the Tombstone Factory, but they didn't even have a name for it yet. They just called it the Party Dump or anything. And man, you know, we did a show out there, Warlock, you know, and they were blown away, and the band that was playing there was called Ecstasy, and they immediately dropped the glam thing and renamed their band Plague Allegiance. It was really cool, and yeah, man. And so, man, a few months later, man, they were like, look, we're gonna go ahead and move out of here, man, you know, and we thought of you, man. Do you want the place? And I'm like, hell yeah, I want this place, man. And man, bro, it was a house. They rented it to you as a house, but the damn thing had the building next to it, you know, and so you got a house and the club for $400. That was a hell of a deal, man. And I rode that for 3 years, from '86 to '89, man. They finally threw me out in the summer of '89 over there. We did the last show. It was the Cro-Mags. And then what did I do? I brought the band that gave me the place back in there to do the last show too, Plague Allegiance, man. So it was Cro-Mags and Plague Allegiance. And Destruction was on the bill. And Destruction, this is still a funny thing too that we always goof around about. Destruction got there, man, and they refused to play there. They're like, hell no, we're not playing this dump, man. and yeah, they wouldn't play there, man. But you know, we hadn't been taking care of it too good. You know, living kind of crazy back then, man. You know, but yeah, in '86, I fired up the Tombstone Factory, and there's a damn funny story about that too. It's probably boring, but I don't know. You let me run on here, so man, you let me know when I got it. But I just want to tell you how the beginning of the DFW Metalplex here, man, and yeah, man.
Well, one thing I did want to ask you about, Jerry. Earlier you were mentioning fucking photo shoots and stuff like that, and you were talking about about Pantera's saying that their next record at the time was going to be fucking heavier than Ride the Lightning. It was making me think of those pictures that circulate online that you'll see sometimes of James Hetfield and fucking Dimebag. It looks like they're in a bedroom or something, and they're both trading guitars and they're just jamming out. Were you there? Do you remember that?
Of course I was there, bro. I was all up in that, man. I jammed with them on stage.
What was that? What was that all about? What were they doing, man?
Okay, I'll rip it out here, man. I'm trying to get along with Rita, man, the best I can these days, man. And it's important for me to do so. And I mean nothing against Rita, man. We were all, we were wild, man. We're sex, drugs, sex, drugs, and metal music, man. But the bottom line is this is how it went, bro. A lot of people don't even know this, man. But so Warlock, Rick Perry. Rick Perry was Rita's boyfriend for about 2 years. Yeah, he hates it when I tell this story. Lord have mercy. Anyway, I'm telling you the real stuff here, Zach. I'm telling you the real stuff. She was Rick Perry's girlfriend for about 2 years, the guitar player in Warlock. We hung out daily, And, man, we had this show at the Ritz. Now, wouldn't you know, this place is called the Ritz. They never allowed no metal bands to play, man. We bugged them all the time. We'll bring a whole lot of people, man. That's what we're afraid of. We don't want your people here, and that's what we'd always hear, And so finally, these jackasses at the Ritz, man, they started a heavy metal Wednesday, And, we were so desperate to get to play this place, man. They gave us the second Heavy Metal Wednesday. So this here was February, man, of '85. And, man, wouldn't you know it, Metallica booked their show here in DFW for that same Wednesday night, man. I mean, how do we get that unlucky? The same Wednesday night is Metallica and Armored Saint, I think, that came on that Ride the Lightning tour. See, I didn't get to see the Ride the Lightning tour because of this here. But guess what, though? Rita tells Rick, hey, man, I'm going to go out and see this Metallica concert, and then I'm going to come back and see you guys and hang out with you guys. Because back then, in the club days, man, you had to play 3 sets, man, all night long. You had to play 1:30 right before the alcohol sales stopped. So she was going to go see. So, man, bro, we don't get to go see the concert because obviously we're playing that night. I mean, how weird can that one night be that we got booked on the same night as Metallica, and then Rita goes to the show without Rick, which she was never going to anything without Rick because that was her boyfriend. Well, bro, she goes to that show, man, and evidently she meets Metallica. And then evidently she was with Lars. That was the thing. She was with Lars. And she started, I don't know, whatever you call it, man, being with Lars, whatever. I don't think she was his girlfriend. I don't really know, man. It's none of my business. I didn't dig into it that deep. I didn't realize it, bro, because we weren't there. So she never comes back to the club that night at the Ritz. And, man, Rick makes me wait outside at the back for 4 hours, man. It's about 4 or 5 in the morning, man. Me and him sitting out in his Toyota Celica, man, waiting for Rita to get back. And I'm telling him, bro, Rita ain't coming, bro. Let's go home. And he was like, finally I got him to go, man. I was telling him, what if she's calling the house and needs us? This is the 80s, we didn't have no cell phones or nothing. Man, we sit out there for about 4 or 5 in the morning, honest truth. When we finally go home, I never hear about it. I never even ask him, I'm like, hey, man, whatever happened. She said she was sick. She got sick and she went home. Well, that wasn't the truth. She met Lars and she was with Lars. And so now, even my little brother, Ricky, I got to mention my brother because, he'll get mad at me if I don't mention him. Both of my brothers are lifelong metalheads around here, man. And so I didn't get to go to this one, but she took him to Arizona to see Metallica with Wasp. And then I know he hung out with Holmes, man, the whole night. But mainly because Lars was with Rita, it wasn't, and so, bro, she started seeing Lars now. So they went and saw him in concert there, And so finally, now they don't tell me about this. She's doing this, discreetly because she's still with Rick Perry, man. Well, I'm really letting out the stuff on this one. But anyway, man, there in June of '85, Rita calls me up and goes, man, I got to tell you about something, man. I got some good news, man, and I got some bad news. I'm like, oh, hell. So anyway, she tells me, look, man, remember that time whenever I didn't come to y'all's show at the Ritz, when I went to see Metallica? I was going, yeah, I had to wait in the car, man, about 4 or 5 hours. I remember it well. And she goes, well, I met Lars that night. I was going, oh, cool, man, hell yeah. She's going, well, no, I was with Lars. And I'm going, really? Oh, hell. Man. And next thing she goes, well, I'm telling you because they're coming down here. They just finished their tour, and they want to come down here and hang out with me for a week or so. And I'm like, oh, hell. So, see, I was in the hell of a predicament there, Zach. I was in the hell of a dilemma, man. And so, and Rascals, we had opened Rascals in May of '85, so Rascals was brand new. Man, don't you think we wanted to take Metallica over to Rascals and hang out and party at our own metal club? Of course we did, man. The first brand new metal club in Arlington. But, man, Rick Perry had access to the place, and all our gear was up there, and we rehearsed up there and all that, and he could walk in at any time. And so she didn't want to go up there, man. We couldn't even take him to our new club. And so finally in the end she decided we were going to go to this club called Savvy's. And Savvy's was named after a band called Savvy. And man, this dude hated metal. The drummer was the owner, man, and he hated metal, man. Man, it was insane, dude. So man, we go to this club called Savvy's, and it's me, James Hetfield, Lars, Rex, Darrell, and Vince, and the two chicks, Rita and Lenise. Lenise was with James Hetfield, and Rita was with Lars. And so we go to the club, man, and we're partying, and we're back there, bro. Not a single person the whole night. It was a Tuesday night. I'll never forget it. Not a single person the whole night ever noticed that they were Metallica or anything like that, They had just finished the Ride the Lightning tour. So me and Darrell, we go up to Rick Miller, man, the owner of this damn place. I shouldn't even mention his name. But we go up there, and we're like, hey, look, bro, we got to do some Metallica here, man, Let us get up and jam a few songs. And this is what Rick Miller said. He said, hey, man, I told you I really don't want that metal in my club. But, I'll tell you what, I'll be fair. Y'all send me a tape, and I'll listen to it, man, and I'll see if I'll let them play in here. That's what he told Metallica, bro, after the Ride the Lightning tour. He said, let's give him a tape, man, and he'll check them out, man. In other words, he was oblivious, of course, to Metallica. So next thing you know, man, we go back to the table and like, man, he said no, man, we can't jam. I'm like, all right, cool, fuck him, We're drinking, of course, anytime you hang around them cats, you'll be drinking like a fish. And man, he went back there and talked to the band that was playing, and I'm telling you, even on Tuesdays and Wednesday nights and stuff like that back then, bands had to play 4 sets, man. Sometimes 3, but never less than 3, but usually 4. So these dudes had already played 3 sets, and he goes out there and he goes, man, them crazy metal dudes right here, they're wanting to get up and jam, man, Man, that band jumped up and said, man, let them jam, man. Because why? That was an excuse they were going to get to leave early. They were out of there. So we get the jam just because these dudes want to leave early, man. I mean, that's the only reason. And we get up there and we played a bunch of songs, man. Vince never did jam. It was just Darrell and James and Lars and Rex. And me, I got up there and sang 2 songs. I sang Bell Tolls and Seek and Destroy. And there's pictures of it. I'll send you one. But there again, Stuart Taylor was there shooting. And yeah, man. And so we go home. It was cool as hell. We partied all night long. It was great, man. I remember leaving, it was already daylight, 8 or 9 in the morning. Over at Darrell's house, his mom's house, man, Carolyn. They still lived at home then. And so we go over there, yeah, and partying was cool. I go home, Man, I wake up the normal time, 2, 3 in the afternoon, you know, thinking to myself, hell yeah, man, I was jamming with Metallica last night. It was pretty cool. But the whole time now, you can imagine, see, I'm still busted up inside, man, because this chick who I've known as being my guitar player's girlfriend for fucking the last 2 years is with Lars, man. And so, you know, bro, it was pretty wild for me, man. And so then the next day, about 5 or 6 that next afternoon, Rita called me again. She goes, man, pretty badass, son. I was going, hell yeah, that was cool as hell, man. And she goes, well, man, we're doing it again tonight. I said, oh yeah. And she said, we're doing it again tonight, bro. And I'm like, all right then, hell yeah. She goes, well, come on out. We're going to do it. And so I'm all right. So, man, I tell my bass player, he's living there with me at the Warlock Shack, man. We had this Warlock Shack for about 6 years. And, man, I tell him, I said, man, guess what I did last night? He said, what? I said, I jammed with Metallica. He's like, man, fuck you. You didn't jam Metallica. I said, yeah, I did jam Metallica. And guess what? I'm fixing to go out there again, man. You want to go? And this is Eric Roy, and our bass player in Warlock, and he went out there with me. That second night, man, we pulled in the parking lot, Zach, and it was completely packed. And there was a line out the door, man, 100 feet at least, all the way down in front of the restaurant and everything, the old Zyder Z. I can still see it in my mind. I barely pulled in the parking lot about 10 feet, and I'm thinking like, man, fuck this, man. This is too much. We're going to get out of here, man, you know. But then I talked myself into going up there and giving it a shot, you know. And I go to the door, and luckily, man, there's Rita there, and she's waving me down. And she's telling me, yeah, that's him, let him on in. Because they were completely packed, and the line out the door, they were only allowing people, if somebody left, then somebody could go in. That was it. 1 leave, 1 go in. 2 leave, 2 go in. Nobody leave, nobody go in. And these people were just waiting out there for the hope that, you know, somebody would leave. And, man, I would get over to the table where they were, bro. And, man, you should have seen that owner, man. This is one of the greatest things, man. He has his apron on, man. He's got two trays in his hand. Can I get you guys anything? Man, you need anything? Just let me know when you're ready to jam now. I got you, man. Don't worry. That one night, man, overnight, the night before, he was telling them to send him a tape. And he listened to it. And the next night, man, I mean, man, he's waiting on them hand and foot, man. I mean, and it was a madhouse, man, because people were in there with their records. Just in one night, people had found out that they had been there, and they went the next night. And no announcement or anything. But you know how word of mouth is, man. And so, yeah, that's how it went down, bro. And so I got up there and jammed again. I always remember it. Hetfield couldn't remember my name, so he's yelling bell tolls. Hey, Bell Tolls, where you at, man? I know you're in here, man. Get your ass up here. and I was blowing it off for a while, man. Cause I'm like, man, fuck this. It's all packed up against the stage, man. It's gonna be hard to get up there. But man, he kept on, man. You know, I thought he'd just blow it off. You know, get tired of fucking. Man, he insisted I come up there, man. So I fight through the damn crowd and everything, get up there, and I sing the same songs again, Bell Tolls and Seek and Destroy on. You know, on the second night too. Fuck it was really cool.
Hell yeah!
It was really. That's how it went, bro. And we went back to Darrell's house again, and we partied all night. But I just had to say the one part that really sucked, though, man, because the next day, somewhere around noon, I get the screaming, raging call. You know, hey man, Rick Perry, have you seen Rita? No, I said yeah. He goes, man, I heard you jam with Metallica last night. I was going, yeah. He's going, man, fuck you. And he fucking hung up on me, man. And he's pretty mad, bro, because that was his girlfriend, you know? So next thing you know, bro, they were broke up. And I always think that's why Darrell got with Rita, man, because Darrell was probably like, I mean, this is never said. These words never were said. It's just my opinion and my interpretation. Darrell was looking at Rita. He's thinking, man, if Rita's good enough for Lars Ulrich, man, she's good enough for me, man, you know? And he was just after that little time there when they were here, and man, Darrell was Rita from then on, and so it was really wild, man, because Rick Perry was with her up to that time, and then Metallica came, and then bam, Darrell was with her, and it's pretty wild and crazy, man. But that's how it went down here in beautiful Arlington, Texas.
Wow, Jerry, that's a fucking crazy story, man. But yeah, man. Well, hey,
that's the real truth of how it went, man.
Well, dude, we're running short on time, man. So I want to say, man, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us tonight, man. I really appreciate it, man, and giving us all this legendary fucking stories, man. But before I let you go, man, is there anything you want to let people know out there, man?
Well, all this craziness and stuff, and I truly feel like, there's a lot of people who helped along the way, but I truly feel like I was the main person who created the metal scene here in DFW, and it just evolved over the years to where now I'm sitting right here in the Heavy Metal Hall of Fame in beautiful downtown Arlington, and I'd like to ask people to come see us. And one thing, Zach, man, I always wanted to be known to is, to me, Arlington, Texas was a scene here, man. It was something special here, and we don't get talked about like, the Bay Area thrash scene or the Tampa death scene or anything, but I feel like we're as strong as some of those places, man. The Arlington scene in the 80s was special, man, and I really do want people to know how special these bands. I mean, everybody knows Pantera. Most people know Rigor Mortis, Absu, Morbid Scream. I mean, the bands that came from here, man, we were rich, metal rich, and I just like people to know that the Arlington scene existed, and I feel like we're just as legitimate as anybody to home the Heavy Metal Hall of Fame. We're right in the center of the country, and that's easily accessible for everyone here. And Arlington has its own little name, because Pantera was from here, and a lot of people are for the idea of the Heavy Metal Hall of Fame being here. When Ricky Rackman didn't go to the ceremony this year, he talked about doing his own. He talked about something called Headbangers Hall, which sounds really cool, I mean, if Rackman did it, it would be badass. But he hadn't done it, and we're all getting older, and I'm just going to take a stab at it. And the last thing I'll say is I hadn't said anything that I'm just hoping that someone maybe named Rex, I don't know, will get in touch with Black Sabbath, and Black Sabbath will come to Arlington, Texas, and we'll induct Black Sabbath into the Heavy Metal Hall of Fame and start our induction process the way it should be from the beginning, in chronological order, man. Black Sabbath, Judas Priest, Motorhead, and on from there, and then the way it should be, and we'll do it right here, and I hope everybody's cool enough to get behind us here, man.
Hell yeah.
That pretty much wraps it up for me there, Zach. And man, hey, for you though, bro, I've been talking to you for a while, man, and your promotion thing, man, is the top of the line. And dude, don't you ever think that, man, I'm so honored, man, to be on your show, man. I really, really do thank you so much, brother, for putting me on this damn thing, man. It means the world to me.
Man, thank you, brother. And it's the honor is mine, dude. But hey, man, before I let you go, can I get you to make us a station tag real quick? Just say something like, "This is Jerry from Warlock, Texas, and you're listening to Metal Devastation Radio."
Hey, y'all. This is Jerry Warden, singer for Warlock, Texas, and the guy who has created the Heavy Metal Hall of Fame in beautiful downtown Arlington, Texas. You're listening to Zach on Metal Devastation Radio.
Fuck yeah.
This dude jams.
Hell yeah.
You think I did anything right, man, or
hey,
what?
Man, you got it right, man. Fucking first time, dude. Hell yeah. Well,
all right then. It means a lot to me, man. Thank you so much, Zach.
All right, man. Well, you take it easy, and we're gonna blast some more fucking Warlock, Texas for these motherfuckers so they can get down. All right.
Thank you so much, and I'll be listening, man. I think it's time for me to have a doobie and listen to the show, man.
Hell yeah.
So Thank you so much, sir. And I'll be in touch, man. I'll help you promote anything you want promoted, bro. We almost got 10,000 followers on that Heavy Metal Hall of Fame page now, so I'll be flipping someone over there too, man. And I support you 100%, sir.
Hell yeah, brother. Get your pull.
Damn straight, man. See you soon.
All right,
Talk to you soon.
Later, Jerry. There you have it, folks. Jerry Warden, live on the Zach Moonshine Show with Metal Devastation motherfucking radio. Like I said earlier, put your speakers in your windows, put them in your front lawns, put them in your neighbor's driveway, do whatever the fuck you gotta do, man. If you don't see U-Haul trucks everywhere tomorrow, you ain't cranking it up loud enough like we are, motherfucker. Crank it up loud as a fuck. This is Warlock, Texas.